Hello and welcome to HCG Corporate Designs. This video is about infographics. I've already done a video about this topic a few years ago and I received many emails after that. Emails from design students to university teachers that teach design, to people that have never dealt with design before, to a school that wanted me to teach infographic design in a course. Because of all this feedback, I decided to do another video about infographics and to show you some more useful tips on that topic. I sometimes was asked what online tools I would recommend to create infographics with, and my answer was always none, to be very honest, because I as a designer don't use any online tools. I create infographics from scratch in Adobe Illustrator. So I think, to be very honest, here lies the core of a really big problem. Such online tools come in handy if you want to create a cheap or free infographic very quickly. But the problem is they all look the same or very similar. And I then get sent emails with infographic examples that other people made. And I'm asked, oh, Ms. Gamper, why does my infographic look a bit rubbish? And the next problem, which is even bigger, it tempts non-designers to design an infographic themselves. So people that have no design expertise think that such online tools are a substitute for the lack of design expertise. And this is not the case. Since there are more and more of these online tools out there, I see more and more poorly made infographics, sometimes more bad ones than good ones. And this is the dilemma. So you cannot make an infographic without design expertise about colors, shapes, typography, etc. And this is the point where most infographic projects fail. So my honest opinion is, don't use any online tools. Don't do an infographic at all, which is fine, or hire a professional that knows how to do infographics. The readability of an infographic has a lot to do with the structure of the infographic. Don't just take a dummy template from the internet and chuck all your data into it. First, you need to have your data and understand it. Then you have to build, based on the data, a certain structure, a rough grid that adds logic to the infographic. And then you should start to create the actual infographic. I find this order is really important. Especially infographics that are quite long and tell a complex story need to have visual anchor points. So the information has to be split into small groups so you don't lose your orientation. For example, you can use colorful bars for headers, like the light blue bars in this example. I find graphics should be more prominent than text. It's called infographic and not infotext, right? So you should not have long elaborating PR text, but the text should be short and to the point. The text should always support the graphic and not upside down. Infographics are all about showing relations between different things. This means you have to find relations within your data or to other things and visualize that with a graphic or an icon. And of course, this can only work if you design yourself. A few examples of relations can be seen here. This was about inflation rates in different countries. Countries with a high inflation rate were shown big, countries with a small inflation rate were shown small. Here you see a part of an infographic I did about the Olympic Winter Games in Innsbruck, and you see the relation between male and female athletes. Another example is this infographic about water usage in Germany. I show that only 8% accounts for private households. In the black drop on the left, you see how little that actually is compared to the overall water consumption in Germany. Again, we have a nice relation visualization here. And on the right, you see how these 8% are used in private households. This way of visualizing relations, you of course cannot download from the internet. You have to draw this yourself. If you download icons from the internet, like this man and woman at 31% toilet in this example, you should definitely amend these icons in Adobe Illustrator or in another vector-based program to make the symbols match the rest of the look and feel of the whole infographic. I always recommend to use SVG files, as you can open them in any version of Adobe Illustrator, no matter if cloud user or not, and you can easily adapt them. And please don't download different icons from many different sources from the internet and wildly mix them, because that makes your infographic look cluttered, unprofessional, and cheap. Graphics have to be displayed correctly, of course. Wrong graphics and wrong diagrams make an infographic non-credible. So a good knowledge or basic knowledge in maths is definitely required here and there. You can see an example here. A half round circle equals 100%. The colored parts represent the actual data. As you can see, the yellow exceptional with 3.5% is only a small part of the entire half round circle that goes all the way up. Makes sense. The red unacceptable accounts for 94% and almost the whole half circle is red. Imagine the yellow exceptional with 3.5% would go up to the middle, about 50%. This would not really make sense. This example was a bit tricky because I had to find a way to calculate round shapes correctly. A whole circle has 360 degrees, hence a half circle has 180 degrees. And if 180 degrees equal 100%, how many degrees equal 3.5%, and so on. I had to calculate that and draw it correctly in Illustrator. There were 3 or 4 steps involved in between in order to visualize this correctly in Illustrator. Maths really play a big role in infographics. Please don't underestimate that. Besides static infographics for print and digital, you can of course also create animated infographics for web purposes. Let me show you an example here. This was an infographic for 5 years HCG corporate designs with a raffle. As you scroll down, the animation happens, and what is very nice is that you are navigated through the infographic with these subtle lines. Also, the background patterns always match the topic or the chapter in this case. This is a Pantone color fan, and this is about colors for logos, as you see. We have many visual anchor points. Yeah, and as I scroll, more and more comes up. By the way, as an inspiration, I created a free iPad app that shows static and animated infographics. You can download this app for free if you click on the app icon or search in the Apple App Store for Infographics by HCG Corporate Designs. If you don't have an iPad, no problem, you can watch a video where I show the app. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you need an infographic yourself, please send me an email to office@hcg-corporate-designs.com. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time.